Hey everybody, it's nutritionist Amy Berger from 2itnutrition.com bringing you once again keto without the crazy. I don't know when this video is going to be published, but I'm recording it March 15th. I'm trying to record a big stockpile of videos ahead of time so that I always have at least one or two to publish every week, and I never get caught with a week or two where there's nothing ready to go. So it might be a while before this one is published. So I wanted to tell you I'm recording it on March 15th because I just came back from Low Carb Denver a couple of days ago, and I picked up the mother of all, I don't know what kind of illnesses there, but it's kind of a cross between a cold and the flu. And I know of at least 5 other people that got the same thing. See, I'm coughing. We don't know who patient 0 was, and then somebody told me that there was actually a big flu outbreak in Denver, not just at Low Carb Denver, but in Denver as a whole. I don't know. I was bedridden for 3 days, and I don't normally get sick. I know not long ago I did videos where I said, oh, I'm getting over a cold. It's weird for me to get sick at all. I haven't been sick in years and years and years. And I wonder if, I did just move a few months ago. Maybe that was more stressful than I realized, and my immune system is like not where it needs to be. Whatever. I wanted to tell you that I am getting over this illness. Today is like the first day I have enough energy to make videos, the first day I had energy to be out of bed and accomplish any work of any kind. But I wanted to tell you I'm getting over this because the muscle aches are gone, the fatigue is gone, the fever is mostly gone. What is not gone is this sore throat and cough. So I'm about to pop one of these babies, sugar-free cough drops, Walgreens brand. They do exist. You can find sugar-free cough drops. There are some questionable ingredients in them, I'm not going to lie, but depending on your state of sickness, you can continue to cough and feel like there are knives being sliced against your throat, or you can just get over yourself and pop a sugar-free Walgreens cough drop like I'm going to do right now. So I wanted to let you know I'm doing that, not only to show you that sugar-free cough drops exist, but if I sound weird or I sound funny, it's because now I have this thing in my mouth. On with the show. I'm speaking without notes again. We all know that could go south, it could go east, it could go in any direction. So it's fun to fly by the seat of my pants. Hopefully I won't mess this up too badly. What are we going to talk about? How about how much water you need on keto? But before I get to that, this is actually, again, like I said, I have a lot of videos recorded ahead of time. This is the first video I'm recording after I started my Patreon account, and some of you have actually been subscribing. So thank you so much. Welcome aboard. I'm so glad you're with me. It really, truly helps. Every little bit is going to help. I'm a freelance writer. I have no health insurance. I have no paid time off. There's no retirement plan. I'm self-employed in everything I do. So I'm not a flashy person. I'm driving a 12-year-old little Hyundai Sonata that I inherited from my mother. I get most of my clothes from Kohl's. If you know the store in the U.S., Kohl's, I get most of my clothing there. And so I'm not a flashy person. I don't I don't travel to exotic places. Denver, is that exotic? I don't know. And that was for a conference. But my point is, the reason I'm looking to increase my income is because I need to sock it away for retirement. And I also need it for now. I mean, we have to live, and I have to, if I'm going to do this kind of work, I need money coming in to allow me to do this kind of work. So thank you so much for subscribing. I'm so happy that some of you appear to be glad that there's an easy way to help support my work now. So thank you for that. All right, now into things. How much water do you need on keto? I don't know. How much water do you need on keto? The answer is going to differ from person to person. It's going to differ within age groups. It's going to differ with your activity level, climate, all kinds of stuff. The general sort of conventional recommendation you hear about water intake is that you should get I could be wrong about this. I think they say a minimum, or this could be the general amount to aim for, whether it's the minimum or the general amount. They recommend drinking half your body weight in ounces of water. For example, if you are a female who weighs 140 pounds, you should be drinking 70 ounces of water. And again, I don't remember offhand if that was a minimum that you should be aiming for or that's about the amount you need. If you're a 200-pound male, you should be drinking 100 ounces of water. I don't really agree with that. That's probably fine. It's probably not harmful to do that, but and please know that the 8 ounces of water a day thing is total mythological unicorn nonsense. It came from absolutely nowhere. There was like zero solid scientific evidence suggesting that we should get a minimum of 8 glasses of water a day, and it's about 8-ounce glasses, meaning 64 ounces a day, right? For some people that might be enough. Maybe for some people it's too much. It's just a stupid recommendation. So I just on it. Let's remember when we talk about water intake, coffee counts, tea counts, other beverages that contain water count. So if you still drink milk, water is a constituent of milk. If you're doing like unsweetened almond milk, unsweetened, whatever, rice milk or something that hopefully is still really low in sugar, those sort of alternative nut milks and seed and grain milks or whatever, they contain water. And unless you're doing the strict carnivore diet where you're not eating any vegetables whatsoever, if you're eating vegetables, especially raw vegetables like salad vegetables, and what you eat might change throughout the year, depending on the seasons and what's available. I mean, if you go to the regular big supermarket, you can get just about anything all times of year. But if you tend to favor your local farmer's market or something like that, you might be able to only get certain things at certain times of year. But certain vegetables and fruits even are very high in water content. Like lettuce is almost all water. It's water held together with some cellulose and fiber. Celery loaded with water, cucumbers, radishes, fennel, bell peppers, and these things are very juicy, right? They're very watery. And that all counts toward your water intake. So even when you think, oh, I'm supposed to get such and such an amount of water, don't ignore the water you're getting from all the other sources. And even meat, even on something like the carnivore diet, you are still going to get water. I mean, a steak is like, unless you're cooking it well done, which I hope you're not ever cooking your steak well done, but that's just my opinion. Meat is fairly high in water content too. I mean, you can see this when you cut into a steak. What runs out? Juice. That's not all blood. It's water, it's cellular fluid, whatever. But some component of that is H2O. It's water. Some people also say that you should go by the color of your urine. If your urine is too dark, then you're dehydrated and you need more water. I think that's an okay gauge, but does anyone know like what is the ideal color of urine? What is the optimal color of urine? Because remember, what we eat can influence the color of urine too. This may not be as applicable to a low-carb or ketogenic diet, but for example, if you eat beets, because beets, they're high in sugar, but you can, if you're on a low-carb diet, you can eat a small amount of beets. I love beets. I eat beets now and then. Beets turn my urine bright pink. So things can definitely influence the color of urine. Vitamin supplements. This is very important to know. The B vitamins can make your urine like fluorescent yellow, almost like a fluorescent green color. Most of you probably already know this, but if you don't, if you take a multivitamin or especially a B complex and you've noticed your urine is like a yellow highlighter, don't be scared. That's totally normal. I think it's the riboflavin that does it, but it could be some of the other B vitamins. I'm pretty sure it's the riboflavin though. So you can't always go by the color of your urine. I think the best way to determine how much water you need on keto is to drink when you are thirsty. How's that for a radical plan? When you feel like you want to drink some water, drink some water. It's so funny to me how with eating, so here's the thing, right? People will say, if you're thirsty, it's too late. Thirst means you're already dehydrated. Not really, no. Dehydration is like a very severe situation that you would probably know if you had it. But let's take a step back. So I don't think it's true that if you're thirsty, it's too late. I think thirst is your body's sign, like, hey, I think you should give me some water, please. And why is it that we want to prevent thirst? Like, if you're thirsty, it's too late. So drink all throughout the day constantly so you never have to experience 1 second of thirst. And we do the opposite with eating, don't we? I mean, some of us, not everybody fasts, but let's say somebody who's fasting, even if you're only doing a 16-8, meaning you fast for 16 hours and you have an 8-hour eating window. So you eat, and almost 8 hours later you eat your second meal, and then you don't eat the rest of the day. To me, that's not fasting. If you're eating 2 meals a day, that's not fasting. I'll do a separate video on that sometime, but that's a different issue. My point is, when you are deliberately only having food during a certain time window, you will ignore your hunger. And we kind of celebrate that sometimes in the keto world, rightly or wrongly, that you should let yourself get hungry. It's okay to be hungry. We never say that with thirst. So if thirst is a sign that it's already too late, why don't we say that with hunger? Well, if you're hungry, you're already starving. It's too late. You've gone too far. Therefore, you should snack all day long so you never experience hunger, because if you're hungry, you've missed the window. It's too late. No. So I don't know why we think that's true of thirst. I think everybody is so afraid of dehydration, which is not really an issue in the United States in 2019. If anything, on a ketogenic diet, depending on what you're eating, some of us might be at risk for overhydration. And I'm not talking about overt hyponatremia, which is the fancy science word for when your blood sodium is too low. That's what kills, like, the fraternity idiots that do these hazing stunts where they just guzzle gallons and gallons of water. They throw off their electrolyte balance so badly that they can actually die. That's a life-threatening situation. So on a ketogenic diet, sodium intake, salt intake, and other electrolyte intake is so important that if you are over consuming water because you just think you're supposed to drink water all day, you run the risk of kind of like diluting your electrolytes. And I don't think just getting a little too much water in relation to electrolytes that's not going to give you the hyponatremia. That's not going to be a dangerous situation, but you might feel dizzy, you might feel lightheaded, you might feel nauseated, you might feel weak, you might just feel blah. If you work out, you might find that you lose endurance, you lose strength and power. So I think there's very little risk of being dehydrated on keto. I think if anything, we have the opposite risk potentially. And this is all very individual because everyone eats such different things. We supplement differently. I don't think we need to be that concerned with how much water we're drinking, and I would say when we're drinking it, but this is kind of a controversial topic, but you do what you're comfortable with and what works for your body, but I personally don't drink a lot of liquid with my meals, with the exception of wine, but the amount of fluid in 1 or 2 glasses of wine, it's not quite that huge an amount of liquid. When I was like a kid, before I knew anything about this, you'd get like a soda or a glass of water, a glass of milk during your meal and have 2 or 3 refills, big glasses of fluid. And I don't know if there's a whole lot of truth in the possibility that you could like dilute your stomach acid. I mean, stomach acid is pretty strong. It's a very, very strong acid. So I don't know that necessarily drinking a lot of water is going to interfere with the efficacy of your stomach acid, with its ability to denature all the proteins and do what it's supposed to do. But if you are somebody that deals with indigestion, bloating, heartburn, gas, anything like not gastroparesis, that's an actual condition, but maybe just feeling like your food is sitting there for too long, like it's not moving, maybe don't load up with water at your meals or any other liquid. Maybe just drink enough at other points throughout the day that when it comes time for meals, you don't feel the need to flood yourself with water. And if you are drinking a lot of fluid to wash your food down, you're doing it wrong. And I joke that I don't really like that phrase because we usually use it not in the best way, but sorry, I was just remembering a joke somebody made about that. You're doing it wrong. It's not a joke I can share on the YouTube channel, but if you should be chewing and swallowing like a normal human. Like, you shouldn't need liquid to wash the food down. Now let's talk briefly about the possibility for dehydration. I'm kind of on the camp where, like, we're probably more concerned about water intake than we need to be, but some people are right to be concerned. If you live in a very, very hot, humid place, you probably need more than somebody else who doesn't live in that place. If you have a physical job and you sweat a lot, particularly if it's outdoors, like if you're a cop or a construction worker or a first responder or someone else who's outdoors a lot, a landscaper, who knows what. And if you work out a lot, so whatever climate you live in, if you exercise a lot and you are sweating a lot and you're losing a lot of water, you probably do need to replace that water. But here's the big but, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You also absolutely need to replace that salt. Don't forget to replace the sodium and the magnesium and all the other stuff you're losing. I'm going to do the next video, I think, is going to be on salt. So keep an eye out for that. And I think that's it. There's a book on my bookshelf, which is on the other side of my apartment. I'm going to get up and see if I can find it because I want to possibly make a book recommendation. Give me 1 minute. Okay, here I am. So it is called Your Body's Many Cries for Water. And the author he's got this big, like, Indian, Iranian type. I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend anyone. I don't know where he's from. Let me see. He's got this big, long, it's Iranian. I've heard it pronounced Batman Gelage. It is BATMANGHELIDJ. Batman Gelage MD, Your Body's Many Cries for Water. You can get this on Amazon. I'll put a link to it in the notes. The subtitle of the book is You're Not Sick, You're Thirsty. Don't treat thirst with medication. And I had to read this book for some of my training in the past, and it's been about 5 years since I read it, so I don't remember the full details, but I do remember being fascinated by it and thinking, oh my God, he's absolutely right. So I don't want to downplay the risks of what I would call subclinical dehydration. Not dehydration to the point where your electrolytes are out of whack and you're passing out on the floor or something's really wrong, but kind of like subclinical, you just, you don't feel so great, But he actually does talk about specific medical conditions that he thinks are largely coming from dehydration. So it's worth reading. You can see, like, it's a very, very thin book. You could probably read it in 2 days, maybe 1 day if you are, unfortunately unemployed or something like that, or maybe you're retired, whatever. Worth reading if you're interested in this topic. And we're coming up on 19 minutes. I guess that's it for water. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to say. Not really, but in case anyone's interested, I drink regular old, dangerous, God help me, tap water from Durham, North Carolina. And I drank regular old, unfiltered, God help me, taking my life into my own hands, tap water when I lived in New York City, when I lived in Pittsburgh, when I lived in Omaha, Nebraska, when I lived in Monterey, California, when I lived in Northern Virginia, when I worked at the Pentagon. Every office building I've ever worked at, I got water out of the fountain. I'm still alive. I'm still here. Every now and then I do get the flu, unfortunately. I've said it before, keto doesn't make you invincible. Is that because I've been drinking tap water the 40 years I've been on Earth? Probably not. If you have the means to get some fancy schmancy filter, do it. I got nothing against it. I wouldn't mind having one. I kind of can't afford it. I'm less worried about whatever's in the water, you know, with they pretty much kill all the bad stuff in the water. I would like to get something to remove the fluoride. I'm not a big fan of drinking fluoride. Fluoride is great topically applied to the teeth. We don't need to be ingesting it. That's a whole separate issue, the fluoride issue. But anyway, my point is, if you were going to ask, well, you know, what kind of water should I drink? Whatever water you want to drink. If you want to buy fancy dancy bottled water, filtered water, Fiji special square bottles, just drink water. Like whatever water you want to drink, drink it. I drink whatever comes out of the tap, and I'm glad it comes out of the tap. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time. My website is 2itnutrition.com. And again, I'm up on Patreon. If you want to check that out, it's patreon.com/2itnutrition. See you next time.